Hello everybody and welcome back to another Minecraft update video. Today's snapshot is 14w02a. It is the first one of 2014. It is also the first snapshot for the 1.8 update, and this one appears to be focused on survival and adventure mode, and there are some really big changes to both of these. But first of all, we're going to go over some of the new block types and some of the small changes that have been made. So there are 3 new block types for stone. This is Andesite, Diorite and Granite. And these actually spawn naturally in the world. So if you have a look around here, we are actually on the Hermitcraft seed, and you can see some of this has spawned naturally and it doesn't disrupt the world generation as well. So your seeds will stay the same and you'll have these new materials spawning. Now, as I said, these are types of stone. You can see here it has the same value as stone but a different damage value to get the different texture. Now these can be crafted into polished andesite, polished diorite and polished granite, and the crafting recipes are right here. Very simple and straightforward, just a 2x2 grid and you'll get 4 of each of those. Now this next block is one that we are all excited for. It is the slime block. It is another use for the slime balls at last, and you're probably going to guess that this will make you jump up and down, that it's a bouncy block, and you would be right. If we fly up into the air and drop down, you can see it's going to make us bounce up and down, which I think is something that everyone has wanted to see for quite some time. Now my first observation here is when you fall down, you're not going to be able to jump back up higher than what you've fallen down. So you see that, well, if I actually land on it, you'll see that slowly the height that we jump back up to will degrade over time. Now here's an interesting thing. Let's change our game mode to 0, and actually let's go into the sky before we do that, and then change into 0. No fall damage, and I've tested this from some very high heights as well. So we are now falling from 500 blocks up in the sky. We can't even see the world as it loads, and there it is at last. We're going to land on the slime block, we're going to go flying back up into the air, but we haven't taken a single block of damage, which makes this block very useful. So the crafting recipe for this is 9 slime balls. That will give you 1 slime block, and you may be wondering some of the other properties of this block. You can push it with pistons and retract it. It can also have power going through it, which is very interesting, so you can use it for redstone. And another property of it as well, let's go to game mode 0. You can actually instantly mine this, which might be a bug. So I have no tools whatsoever. I'm in game mode 1 and I can just instantly mine it like that, which is very strange. So there have also been some changes to doors as well, the crafting that is. You now get 3 of them each time you craft a wooden door or an iron door, and these can actually go up into stacks of 64 as well, which is a really big change. Before you only got 1 door for all of this wood and they wouldn't even be stackable, so a big change right there. So a thought just crossed my mind. Do these slime blocks work with animals? Let's nudge this guy off. Yes, it does. You can see he's jumping up and down, and he's alright. Let's try it with a hostile mob as well. Let's get ourselves a creeper and knock this guy off the edge. Oh, that might have been a little bit too far. Let's try that again. And there you go, it does. That's excellent. So there has been a big change to enchanting in this game. Let's jump into the enchanting table and have a look at the new system. Now when you put in your item here, you'll see you get your levels on the right as normal, and on the left here you can see this 1, 2 and 3, and that is for XP levels and also lapis. You now need lapis to enchant, so you can see for each one of these they become available. Now when you make an enchantment, this is also the amount of levels that it takes away. So if you have 30 levels, after you do this enchantment you'll have 27. So you can see here the tooltip also as well lets you know one of the enchantments that you're going to get. You can possibly get up to 3 or 4, I'm not sure how many in total, but it will always show you one of them that you're going to get. Now something interesting here is that this is stored per player, so knockback, maybe we don't want that on our sword. We're going to refresh the enchant and you can see that it's still there. So I was at first a little bit bemused by that, so I put the enchanting table in a different position, and it's still the same enchantment. Now this is actually stored per player, so you can't refresh it to see what enchantment you want to get. It's always going to be the luck of the draw of what one appears first, and so we do that enchantment and you can see actually that turned out to be pretty cool. We got unbreaking, fire aspect and sharpness as well. So big changes to the enchanting system. There's also been changes to the repairing system with the anvil as well. This is now a lot cheaper. It takes 1 level to rename an item, so if we do this, you can see only 1 level, and to repair it or to add an enchantment to it is usually between 2 to 5 levels. So this sword right here, you can see it's got some of the best enchants on it, and this did not take a lot of levels to put that together. and also to repair it, it only takes 5 as well. So you can either put a regular diamond or a sword there as well, and it just takes 5 levels. So another important change to note is that XP levels are now more expensive. Previously, to get to level 30 you needed 825 XP in total. Now you need 1291. So next up are the villagers. There have been some changes to villager trading, and I've got to say at first glance it seems really overpowered, although of course things will be tweaked and there's still a lot of things we have to learn about these villagers. But one thing to note is that your old villagers, they will keep the trades because the trades are stored in the villager. However, they're probably going to be affected by the way this new trading system works. So one thing to note first of all is that you get XP from trading. You'll get between 1 and 3 XP for each trade that you do, and also the names of some of these guys have changed, and some of them will have the same skin but different names. So this guy over here used to be the priest, he's now the cleric, and for example this guy is the butcher, but there's also one with the same skin called the leather worker, and it seems like what they've done is divide the trades up, so now there's smaller amounts of trades for each villager. So for example this guy is called the toolsmith, and the one next to him is the weaponsmith, and they have trades that used to be on the same villager previously, but now it's been divided up. So one thing to note about these villagers is that they have the same trades and they get them in the same order, or so it would appear that way. The librarian always starts off with the paper trade first, and so take note of what trade is second. You get an enchantment, then you get books for emeralds, emeralds for a compass, emeralds for a bookshelf. And if we go and look at this guy over here, you can see it's the same thing going on, which is very interesting. Now there are some new trades for each of these guys as well. It's not just the old ones, there's lots of them if you have a look around. So the cleric, you can now trade rotted flesh for emeralds, which is a very good trade, very overpowered in my opinion. And here you can trade ender pearls for emeralds, and that is probably the most overpowered trade of them all. In fact, let's grab some ender pearls because there's something else that's very interesting that I want to show you. We just grab a couple of stacks of these and then trade them with this guy. Now previously what you'd have to do to refresh a trade once it's locked out is do the very last trade that villager has, but now all you need to do is just stand back, let him do his refresh thing, and you can trade it again. So that right there, in my opinion, is extremely overpowered. So now it's time for the changes to the adventure mode, but first of all here's something that affects everything. If we go into the options menu, you can see this new little icon next to the difficulty, and this will allow you to lock the difficulty of the world. So when we click on that we get a warning. It says, are you sure you want to lock the difficulty of this world? This will set the world to always be easy and you will never be able to change that again. Now the reason that this has been added is because sometimes you go into peaceful mode when you're working on something in a test world, then you go back into your survival world and you've killed all the mobs because you're not on the right difficulty. So now you can lock that to a world, which is a very useful feature. But there have been some changes to adventure mode. Previously you could break blocks like glass, which you now can't do, and you could also break a block like wood if you had the right tool to break it with, which you now can't do as well, and that's because it's been changed back so you can't break or place any block type at all. Now there is a way that you can do this. If we press this button over here and give ourselves a shovel, there is a new tag type here that you can see called can destroy, and you are allowed to specify what blocks you can destroy with that tool, and on the tooltip it tells you there as well that you can break a glass block. So now you can manipulate what blocks you can actually break in adventure mode, which is very cool. So this next feature is really cool. Right here we have a empty chest, and what we can now do is lock this chest. So if I power this command block, it's going to lock it, and when we try and open it we hear that sound and it says that the chest is locked, and we can of course change the tags of this chest and unlock it again. Now we can also directly put items into a chest using a command as well, and there you go, they're inside. Then we can lock it, can't open the chest, we can unlock it, and the items are still in there. So this command is called block data, and there's a new MBT tag called lock. So this one's called secret, that means it's locked, and then when you change it back to 0 it will be unlocked. And then here you can see we're just putting some items into the chest using the block data command. So this next feature is incredibly powerful. It is a entity selector, which is at E. So you can see here the command is /kill, so it's going to kill all of the chickens that are in this area. So let's spawn some in, press that button, and poof, they're gone, like that. Now you can also use this with /say, so it's going to check this area in a radius of 10 and see what's around here, and you can see all the entities are listed in the chat right there. Now if we put our tooltip over the top of this, it tells you what type of entity it is, how many of them there are, and it also has those random numbers down at the bottom there. They're not actually random, they are a unique identifier, and every single mob and entity in the game has one of these, and the idea is that they're unique. So this means you can select an individual mob using that. So you can use it as an MBT tag, you can specify it when you're selecting things, and you can specifically target entities in the world. So there are also a couple of bug fixes in this snapshot. There is a problem with villagers having custom MBT data, so when you're playing an adventure map and they have custom trades on here, sometimes a regular trade would appear in there. That is a bug that has been fixed, as well as zombies being able to kill these villagers when in hard difficulty. Now what they should do is turn them into zombie villagers, but sometimes the villagers would just get straight up killed, and that is another bug there that's been fixed. So the Minecraft 1.8 update looks like it's going to be a good one. I am personally really pleased with this slime block. I think that's fantastic, and leave a comment down below and let me know what your favourite thing that's been added is. But that is it for this video. I've already put out another one earlier today. It is a prank video. If you didn't see that, be sure to check it out because it is an epic prank. I pranked Zombie Cleo on the Hermitcraft server. It was absolutely hilarious. There will be a link to that on the screen and in the description box. But that is it for this video. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.